his hand up. Okay.
Sorry for the late start. We had some technical difficulties. Welcome to the Post Falls Urban Renewal Agency August 20th meeting. Can we do a commissioner roll call, please?
Clemenson.
Here.
Coles.
Here.
Leffel.
Here.
Fleshman.
Here.
Crosby.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Here.
Parmentier
Who's here?
That was a here.
is here by conference call.
All right, can you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We've got ceremonies, appointments, and announcements.
I do not have any items in that part of the agenda.
Okay. Conflict disclosure.
Got lots of those, but
Anybody?
No conflicts.
Okay. All right, we're moving on to the consent calendar.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. Item A in the consent calendar is the commission meeting minutes of July 16th, 2026. Item B is the District Review Committee meeting minutes, July 16th, 2026. Item C is the joint workshop minutes from July 21st, 2026. Item D is the payables for this month totaling $2,283.07. Item E is the bank activity report, which shows total funds in all accounts of $6,493,220.79. And accrued interest for the month of $13,434.94. Item F is the financial reports as of July 31st, 2026. Approval of the consent calendar will authorize a transfer of $22,383.07 to the First Interstate checking account for the monthly payables and $13,434.94 accrued interest to the general fund. Madam Chair, I would answer any questions.
I don't have any questions. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
I would move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
second.
Okay, roll call vote.
Clemenson.
Aye.
Leffel.
Aye.
Coles.
Aye.
Fleshman.
Aye.
Crosby.
Aye.
Rodriguez.
Aye.
Parmentier.
You voted aye.
Yes? Okay. Fabulous.
Okay. Moving on. Committee updates, finance and policy.
The Finance Committee reviewed the monthly financials, and we also finalized the budget presentations, which I during the meeting.
Thank you. District review, I have nothing to report from district review at this point. Communications, property, and personnel.
Likewise, nothing to report.
Okay. Okay, citizen comments. This section of the agenda is reserved for citizens wishing to address the commission regarding an agency-related issue. Comments related to future public hearings should be held for that public hearing. Persons wishing to speak will have 5 minutes. Do we have anyone?
We do not.
Okay. So at this point, we're moving on to a public hearing. A public hearing will be held on the proposed fiscal year 2027 budget for the Post Falls Urban Renewal Agency. If anyone wishes to speak and has not filled out a form, please do so now. Give it to the Executive Director, Joe Johns. And notice of the public hearing was published on August 6th and August 13th as required by Idaho Code Section 50-29035. And at this point, we will go into the public hearing.
Do you want me to give the presentation from here or up there?
Whatever is more comfortable.
This is fine. Good morning. These are the key aspects of the Post Falls Urban Renewal Commission's fiscal year 2027 budget covering the period October 1st, 2026 through September 30th, 2027. You're going to point on various things with a pointer. In discussing the revenues, the Commission's income is primarily generated from tax increment revenue arising from new construction in our 3 existing urban renewal districts. Tax increment projections are based on the assessed value of properties located within each district as determined by the Kootenai County Assessor's Office, together with the levy rates established by the various taxing entities. Because those levy rates have not been finalized and will not be finalized until each of the taxing entities complete their budget hearing later in this year, our fiscal year 2027 projections of income from revenue with regard to tax increment are based on preliminary property values and an analysis of current and prior year values and levy rates. We are projecting a conservative 7% increase in property values within the district. At the same time, we anticipate only a modest decrease in the overall levy rate as taxing districts respond to increased service demands and inflationary pressures associated with the national economy and our community's continued growth. Despite that anticipated decrease in the levy rate, continued new commercial development is expected to increase tax increment in fiscal year 2027. The budget projects tax increment from our 3 active districts will increase by approximately 17%, or $427,074, compared with fiscal year 2026. This increase is primarily attributable to continued development stimulated by the completion of public infrastructure improvements funded through the Commission in each of the districts. It is important to put these tax increment revenues into perspective and to understand the long-term benefits of the Commission's investment in making public improvements. The Post Falls Urban Renewal Commission has completed and closed 7 urban renewal districts during its history. When these districts were closed, the increased tax revenues associated with new development were fully returned to each of the underlying taxing districts for the benefit of the public. In addition, more than $7 million in surplus tax increment collected over the life of those districts was also rebated to the underlying taxing entities. But the benefits did not end when a district closes. Public infrastructure constructed through urban renewal continues to support new development, expand the tax base, and generate additional property tax revenue and new jobs for the community. A recent independent third-party analysis of the Commission's closed districts found that continued development within those districts has generated more than $1.1 billion in additional taxable value after they were closed. This is an important measure of the Commission's long-term impact. Infrastructure investments created through urban renewal will continue to produce benefits for the community and the underlying taxing entities long after a district has been closed. We also expect we project that our budget will require us to take $49,833 from our general fund to meet anticipated operating expenses during the coming fiscal year. We have conservatively projected interest income at $49,000 based on the expectation that interest rates will remain relatively stable while recognizing that the Commission's capital improvement fund balance will decline as reimbursements are made for public infrastructure that is completed and approved and dedicated to the city. The budget also includes carryover funds as a revenue item and designated funds as an expenditure item in the technology and downtown districts. Both of these funds simply represent tax increment collected in prior periods that remains available for continuing work that is going on for public improvements. These funds are not dispersed until the planned improvements have been completed, paid for by the proponent, dedicated to and accepted by the city, and the associated costs have been reviewed and documented by the Commission's independent engineers. Designated funds in both the downtown and the technology districts are expected to decrease as the Commission reimburses the proponents for completed transportation and infrastructure improvements in the coming fiscal year. Designated funds in the downtown district are also associated in part with the Commission's Minor Projects Program, which it implemented this year, which provides funding assistance for improvements benefiting existing small businesses and nonprofit organizations located within the downtown district. The Commission is not projecting any borrowings in 2027. Total fiscal year 2027 revenue, including carryover funds, are projected at $3,996,065. I want to emphasize an important point about the source of these revenues. Tax increment is not new tax. It represents the increase in property values resulting from infrastructure investments and new development and increased property values within urban renewal districts after a district is approved and established by the City Council. The underlying taxing entities continue to receive the same amount of property tax revenue that they were receiving prior to the formation of each urban renewal district. As new development occurs and the tax base grows, the resulting increment is used by the Commission to fund eligible public improvements. And when urban renewal district closes, the additional tax revenues generated by the expanded tax base are fully returned to the underlying taxing districts who receive those funds annually going forward. We can see this benefit today in the closed Centerpoint, East Post Falls, and Exposed districts, where significant additional development continues. Development made possible by the public infrastructure investments in sewer, water, roads, and sidewalks paid for through the city's use of the Urban Renewal Program. Moving on to our projected expenses. The Commission's largest 2027 expenditures will continue to be reimbursements for public improvements and infrastructure which have been approved, paid for, completed, and dedicated to the city. Proponent reimbursements for approved and completed improvements are projected at $3,979,566. These projections assume that all existing improvements identified in the approved district plans will be completed in fiscal year 27. If an improvement is not completed, approved, and dedicated during fiscal year 27, the associated funds will continue to remain available and be carried forward into the Commission's fiscal year 2028 budget. It is also important to recognize that a proponent's opportunity for reimbursement is fully dependent on them generating sufficient tax increment over the life of the district. If a district does not generate sufficient increment to fully reimburse a proponent for its cost in building public improvements, any reimbursed portion of the cost is lost. The Urban Renewal Commission currently has no debt and no plans to incur debt in 2027. Our operating expenses for operating the Commission are projected at $198,498 in fiscal year 2027. This represents an increase of approximately 9.5% over our prior year budget and includes projected one-time costs associated with undertaking eligibility and feasibility studies which are required by state law, which will enable the Commission and the City Council to evaluate the potential benefit of a possible new urban renewal district along the east southeast corridor from Highway 41 to the eastern limits of the city. For context, the fiscal year 2026 operating budget was $181,324. Through the first 10 months of this year, operating expenses have totaled only $131,383, or about $13,138 per month. Annualizing that spending rate, we project that our operating expenses for this year, as we conclude this year at the end of September, will only be approximately $157,660, meaning we are below budget by $23,664. Those unused funds will be returned to the general fund. The fiscal year 2027 budget also contains and continues to include a $5,000 contingency, and we are projecting cost increases in several individual operating line items, including audit services, which has been constantly going up for everybody, employee wages, insurance, engineering and contract services, computer software upgrades for for new programs that we need or upgraded programs, and office equipment replacement and postage. These increases reflect a combination of actual cost increases, inflationary pressures, and upgraded resources needed to accomplish the Commission's mission. The Commission's fiscal year 2027 overall budget is projected at $3,996,065, which is exactly what we're projecting our revenues. As shown, the overwhelming majority of that spending, 95.2%, is directed toward paying for the expansion of public infrastructure within our 3 existing urban renewal districts, leaving approximately 5% for the operation and administration of the Commission. That allocation reflects the Commission's primary purpose, which is to use tax increment to facilitate the improvement of public infrastructure, encourage new commercial and industrial development within our city, which creates jobs and expands the tax base. In summary, the 2027 budget reflects continued growth in the Commission's active districts, significant investment in public infrastructure, no planned borrowing, and a continued focus on responsible administration. At the same time, the documented experience of our 7 completed urban renewal districts clearly demonstrates that the benefits of these investments continue long after a district closes through new development, new job creation, and increasing tax base and additional property tax revenues flowing back to the underlying taxing entities. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Any questions? Okay, well, Director Johns, have we had any citizens turn in any forms?
We have not received any forms this morning, nor have we received any inquiries through the office, email, or otherwise.
Okay. So at this point, we can close the public part of the hearing. And we can open it up to any commissioner deliberations and action.
Just move to approve the fiscal year 2027 annual budget.
Okay,
Second.
all right. Roll call
Second.
vote.
Joe, second.
Okay, thank you.
Clemenson,
Aye.
Leffel,
Aye.
Fleshman,
Aye.
Crosby,
Aye.
Coles,
Aye.
Rodriguez,
Aye.
Parmentier.
Thumbs up.
Okay. Great. Motion carries. We'll move on to new business. We've got approval of semi-annual proponent reimbursements.
Okay, Commissioners, the approval of semi-annual proponent reimbursements takes place in February and August of each year. For this reimbursement period, we have in the downtown district, we have a reimbursement for A&A construction in the amount of $348,063.96, leaving a remaining obligation of $3,352,339.34. In the technology district, proponent participant Beyond Green Incorporated, we have a August 2026 reimbursement of $3,629,459.59. There is zero remaining obligation pending the continued review of their first reimbursement submittal, the completion of that. Total August reimbursements are $3,977,523.55. These reimbursements result in current remaining fund balances as follows. The Downtown Minor Projects Program has a fund balance of $210,660.83. Technology District has a fund balance of $849,433.20. And our Pleasant View District, with the fiscal year 2027 admin fee levied, has an accruing receivable of $90,320.84. That will be paid as increment tax funds become available in that district moving forward. A motion would be in order to approve the semi-annual proponent reimbursements and authorize the transfer of $3,977,523.55 to the First Interstate Bank checking account. Madam Chair, I would answer any questions.
I have no questions. Does anyone else have any questions or discussion? Okay, we'll be looking for a motion to approve.
I would move to approve the semi-annual proponent reimbursements as presented.
Do we have a
Second the motion.
Okay. Roll call vote?
Clemenson,
Aye.
Leffel. Coles,
Aye.
Fleshman,
Aye.
Crosby,
Aye.
Rodriguez,
Aye.
Parmentier.
Okay, motion carries.
Just a question. These are the engineered approved for beyond, the reimbursement for Beyond Green is in line with the engineer's approval, and there's still a pending question. What is the deadline for that, for them to make that additional submission?
The deadline for their additional submission of supporting documentation of invoices and costs associated with their project, the deadline is October 31st.
October. Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to minor project reimbursement agreement.
Okay. This minor project reimbursement agreement, or MPRA, was drafted by Councilor Bredesen, is for city-required frontage improvements associated with the construction of Rooted Coffee House at 310 Spokane Street. The city-required improvements are in accordance with the downtown parking plan. The total value of the project is estimated as just over $3 million, with the estimated costs of the public improvements totaling $65,535. The project is anticipated to create approximately 8 new jobs in the first year. These plans, or the site plans, the hatched area is the area in which the public improvements are being made. And this is an overview. The Rooted Coffee House sits directly west of the the driver's license facility, just north of the railroad right-of-way, and along Spokane Street to the west. So, Madam Chair, I would answer any questions.
I don't have any questions. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? We'd be looking for a motion to approve.
I do have a question. The improvements have been documented and reviewed by our consulting engineers.
This is not for the actual reimbursement. This is to enter into the agreement. The consulting engineers were provided with a copy of the project, or the information about the project, gave me their opinion as far as what components of the project comply with our minor projects program outline, as well as what's reimbursable within the district plan. And so the costs that have been submitted with this reimbursement agreement have been reviewed by the engineers, but this is just simply to enter into the agreement. It's not for reimbursement.
Okay, there'll be further discussion before there's a motion to
Approve
for information to
reimbursement.
approve.
Right, right. We don't have any of the invoicing the actual costs yet.
Thank you.
That will require the approval of an order of approval. This is what is the usual process. So we approve an order of approval down the road, and that's when actual reimbursement occurs.
Thank you for that clarification.
Great. I'd be looking for a motion to approve the reimbursement agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote.
Parmentier. Rodriguez.
Aye.
Leffel.
Aye.
Coles.
Aye.
Clemenson.
Aye.
Crosby.
Aye.
Fleshman.
Aye. Motion carries. We're moving on to staff report and updates.
Couple of items for our staff report. The agency has received a couple of new inquiries for participation in the Urban Renewal Program. One is for a potential minor project associated with a proposed daycare at 212 East Mullen Avenue in the downtown district, while the other is for the construction of Cecil Avenue lying north of Prairie Avenue in the Post Falls Technology District. Both of these projects are expected to provide proposal letters and project questionnaire information in the near future, at which time I will schedule a district review committee to review that information before moving it on to the full commission. That concludes my staff report.
Okay. Moving on to commissioner comments. Do we have any commissioner comments? Chairman comments, I have none. And with that, I think we're at the end and we can adjourn.